Assalamu alaikum students. Welcome to the Education Hub. In this lecture, we are going to learn about the human heart. In today's video, we will be covering the basics of the human heart as well as the internal structure of the human heart. So let us start with the description of the heart. The human heart is a muscular pumping organ that pumps blood around the whole body. The human heart is a double pumping organ. It is a strong muscular organ that is made up of myogenic muscles. These are the muscles that can initiate contraction on their own. And the contraction of the heart is initiated by the sinoarterial node, which is present in the top of the right atrium. The human heart. Okay, so now let's talk about the location of the human heart. The human heart is present in the center of the chest cavity. It is slightly inclined towards the left. It lies between the lungs and it is enclosed by the rib cage. It is protected by the sternum and the vertebral column from the front and the back, respectively. The human heart is a conical shaped organ and it is about the size of a clenched fist. And the broader part of the human heart is called the base, whereas the part that is cone shaped is known as the apex. The base of the heart extends to second intercostal space and the apex extends to the fifth one. The human heart is approximately 9 cm to the left of the midline. So now let's talk about the pericardium. The pericardium is a thin, double-layered membrane that surrounds the human heart. Every organ in the human body is surrounded by a double-layered membrane, and the heart is surrounded by the pericardium. Talking about the structure of the pericardium, it has two parts. The outer part, which is white, inelastic, and fibrous in nature, and the inner part. As you can see in the diagram, the outer part is the layer of connective tissues of the parietal pericardium. The inner part is further divided into two membranes, the parietal pericardium and the visceral pericardium. The visceral pericardium is attached to the heart wall, whereas the parietal pericardium is in contact with the layer of connective tissues. In between these two layers, the pericardial fluid is present, which prevents friction when the heart beats. So now let's talk about the walls of the heart. The heart is made up of three walls: the epicardium, the myocardium, and the endocardium. The epicardium is thin and smooth in nature. The myocardium is made up of cardiac muscles. The cardiac muscles consist of branched cells that are separated by intercalated discs. The endocardium consists of the squamous epithelium over a layer of connective tissues. Now let's come to the main part of the lecture, the internal structure of the human heart. The heart consists of four chambers: the right atrium, the left atrium, the right ventricle, and the left ventricle. The right and the left atria are separated by the interatrial septum, and the right atrium opens into the right ventricle through the tricuspid valve. The left atrium opens into the left ventricle through the mitral or the bicuspid valve. The semilunar valves guard the emergence of pulmonary and systemic aorta. The tri- and bicuspid valves are attached to the papillary muscles of the ventricles by the help of chordae tendineae. The bicuspid and the tricuspid valves are so called because they consist of two and three cusps respectively. The valves of the heart are responsible to prevent the backflow of blood and to maintain the unidirectional flow of blood through the heart. The right and the left ventricles are separated by the interventricular septum. The left ventricle is thicker and narrower than the right ventricle as it has to contract tightly to send the blood round the whole body. The superior vena cava collects the blood from the upper part of the body, and the inferior vena cava collects it from the lower part of the body and bring it to the right atrium. The pulmonary artery is responsible to send the blood from the heart to the lungs for oxygenation, and the pulmonary vein is responsible to bring it back to the heart. The aorta is the largest blood vessel of the body, which is responsible to send the blood round the whole body. So this was it for today's lecture. I hope it was a productive one for you. In the lecture, we discussed about the location, the layers, and the internal structure of the heart. This was just the part 1 of the Human Heart series. Other parts will be coming soon, so stay tuned. Don't forget to subscribe to the Education Hub. Thank you for watching. Allah Hafiz.